Do you love donating your cards and sharing joy through your craft? Hi, I'm Jess from JessCrafts.com, and I'm here to help you make the most of your crafty supplies and time. So let's get making. Scrapbook.com this week is celebrating their Cards for Kindness program. They have this bundle available today. I don't know all the details because I'm recording this in advance, but you will be getting the Boho Smooth A2 cardstock, which is 40 sheets, the Dusty Rose Pops of Color, and a new Card Making Essentials stamp set that has some great sentiments. And Scrapbook.com collects cards through their program Cards for Kindness and then redistributes them to several organizations, and I will have a link to more information about that, as well as to my card drive resources page where you can download jokes to put inside of your cards and check out some other organizations that accept card donations. Today I want to create a simple card focusing mostly on the components that are available in this special live stream kit deal. I have the Scrapbook.com clear sticky mat loaded here into my mini Misty, and I wanted to use this like sort of a loose rainbow of colors in the boho, but like this very subdued rainbow, and I want to use that to make this like concentric look. So I will start by stamping on this light blue, which will be the center, and then I'll be radiating the other colors outwards on my card. But this is one of those times where I want to get multiple cards for my trouble. So this is something that I often do because I make no scrap templates. So they tell you how to make 2 cards out of 6x6 paper, sometimes more, about 6 cards out of 12x12 paper, 6x8 paper is usually like 2 cards. So there's always multiples. And that helps me to have more cards to donate. And it can be also really nice because you can have 1 to donate and 1 to keep if you have purpose for that design. So I'm going to stamp the Thinking of You. I picked this sentiment out of all the ones in the set because it's pretty large, and so it will work well for my idea. And I'm going to stamp 2 of them, one on the bottom here, and then I'll flip it over and stamp it again, and I'm going to use a dark blue ink. Once I have stamped and gotten a great impression, I am going to start fussy cutting it out, and that's kind of going to be what I'm repeating continuously in this video, is adding a layer and fussy cutting once again. I'm not worried about my fussy cutting being perfect because I don't even know how it would be. I'm just kind of trying to keep about an equal distance between the edge of the letters and where I'm cutting, and I'm trying to go into some of the details to add interest and make it look more like a die. When you are fussy cutting, it's important, I think, to move the paper around instead of your scissors to keep the cut smooth. I like to also be careful about like how much I'm cutting at one time. While sometimes it can be helpful to make a large cut with your scissors because it will create like a smoother, straighter line. Often when you're going around curves, you want to kind of take it slow and careful, because if you go too far, you could get like deeper into the letter or something than you wanted. But as you can see, these look slightly different. I could kind of fix them up a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. That's not the point of this technique. You don't have to be really good at fussy cutting for this to work, because also it's a pretty big sentiment. So also I stamped in the dark blue ink because I did not want to add any additional colors. I really want to stick to the palette, and I think black would have been actually very disruptive. So the next thing is I want a layer of this dark blue cardstock and fussy cut around again. I think I can still squeeze 2 out of this and get a good amount of coverage, so I'm going to glue these down and then fussy cut again. Okay, it looks like I can get even 1 more layer without having being able to get 2 out of the same sheet. I'm probably gonna have to switch to 1 per sheet out of my next level, but then I'll have some scraps I can use. I think this idea will work well with any of the Scrapbook.com paper pads or cardstock pads, because they have those like layers of color that always look really good together. That's been perfectly coordinated. But of course, you could just pull out a traditional rainbow or any set of cardstock that you like from your collection, but just kind of wanted to show like how you can make something really interesting with plain cardstock. So for this final layer that I'm gonna fussy cut out, I did have to switch to a piece of cardstock per sentiment. So as you can see, there's just not enough room that I couldn't have got a second one out of it. But considering how many layers I was able to get to, I feel pretty good about that. And after I fussy cut this out, I'm ready for my last layer, which is the red color. And I thought about whether I'd want to fussy cut that out, but I really want to eliminate even the white color as well and really just keep it to the colors in the paper pad. So after I fussy cut the yellow, I'm ready to assemble the card, and then that's where we're gonna pull in those pops of color. So I will adhere this down, and you could also add some dimension behind the thinking of you if you want. I think I'm gonna skip that. I like that if I finish the project now, it feels like a super, I don't want to say generic, it's not quite the right word, but like you could give this card to anyone as is. And I think even after you put the dots of color on it, you could give it to anyone. Let's talk about using the pops of color. I prepare the pops of color by removing the cap and then the tip, and inside the tip is this little red stopper that keeps everything safe and secure during shipping. And now your pops of color are ready to go. I always recommend trying a few dots just to make sure everything is flowing. Also to like give yourself a sense of how fast it flows. And when you first make your dots, they're gonna look like a little lumpy and pointy. Let's see if I can show you that a little more closely. But then you can tap them down. It's probably a little easier to do without all the little scraps, but tap them down. And then they'll be more rounded and more like a traditional enamel dot. I'm gonna take a risk and try to put small, evenly sized, evenly spaced dots all around my project here. I'm a little scared to do it, to be honest, but I think that even if I were to mess it up, I could probably still salvage this whole sentiment piece. Like I could probably peel that off and start again and just put it on a new card backer. Also, I didn't line my card up perfectly, so this little white edge, I'll just trim that off when I am finished. Okay, so I won't record the whole thing, but just to give you an idea, I'm gonna put a few dots down. I used to like to do stitching on my cards where I would like poke holes and I would try to evenly space them and then sew embroidery floss through them. Or I used to draw like dashed lines over my cards to mimic sewing when I was too lazy to do that. So I have some experience with the idea of trying to like evenly space things. But I think what I need to consider is that if I wait too long, these are gonna start hardening and I'm not gonna be able to tap them down into dots. So let's take a break and tap them down a little bit so that they don't harden as peaks. Then I'll give you a kind of idea of what it's looking like. And then I'm gonna finish the rest off camera. Well, I almost made it. It was almost perfect. And then I like touched that one dot. I fixed it, or sort of. However, they're definitely not perfectly all the same size, but I kind of think that the fact that they're all kind of different and it fits in with the sort of organic shapes of the card. So overall, I am happy that it kind of came out like what I was imagining. I wasn't sure how it was going to be. Hopefully this one I'll be a lot more careful and not touch it for a while. then I won't have that just that little tiny imperfection there. If you found this video inspiring, here's another video where you can find more ideas for enjoying your crafty time and supplies. Let me know you like this video with a share to your crafty community. Subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss the next template or tutorial, and check the video description for product links, including this special live stream from scrapbook.com. There will be a link for it so you can check out the price and more about cards for kindness. See you in the next video.